Don't forget to check out and grab your copy of our 2 newly released books, Football: A Love Story and What Did Football Teach Me? These books feature over 100 stories from current and former coaches, players, executives, and entertainers from across the football landscape, describing what got them involved in the game, what they love about it, and what life lessons the game taught them. You can find your copy or order your copy from our website at footballgameplan.com/books. Before we get to the report, if you like our style of video and analysis, feel free to show support for Football Game Plan by dropping by our YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan and leaving a little something in the tip jar. Every little bit helps us as we continue to improve the quality of our videos and the coverage we enjoy bringing you guys each and every time we put out a project. Thank you again for your support. Laremy Tunsil out of Ole Miss is our #1 rated tackle prospect in this year's draft class. I think he has elite level technique, and that's from a hands, feet, and patience perspective. It's probably the best I've seen in quite some time. His patience and accuracy with his punch is second to none, and he also takes really good angles to cut off the defender. He's never out of position. At times, he doesn't finish blocks, and power rushers can give him fits throughout the course of a ball game, but I think he has the ability to recover. He has the overall athleticism that you want at the position, and his game, in my opinion, reminds me a lot of Tyron Smith of the Dallas Cowboys. I think Taylor Decker out of Ohio State is an outstanding football player. He ends up being our #2 rated tackle prospect in this draft class. He has tremendous hand placement. He's well balanced with his pass set. I also believe he excels on both ends of offense and has above average movement skills. He's patient in pass protection, which is always going to be a plus as he moves forward. Now, he has to be quicker off the football in the running game. He doesn't always roll his hips into his run blocks, and that causes him to play high at times, which is something he's going to have to adjust as he makes the jump. But he has good overall footwork, and again, a very solid prospect that plays a lot like Jordan Gross. I love the mindset of LaRaven Clark out of Texas Tech. He reminds me a lot of Dwayne Brown. He plays with length. He has good explosion off the ball in the running game and is always playing in a position of control in pass protection. Now, he struggles to reset his hands at times, which gets him in trouble versus certain moves by the defender. Let's say an arm under or a dip shoulder move. He has issues with that. I think he has to get a little bit more consistent in resetting when he's beat initially. But you love the fact that he is a little bit more athletic than he was in 2014, which only bodes well for his chances moving forward. Jermaine Fowler out of Texas A&M is a massive tackle that plays big and also plays with length. He's able to seal, pin, and drive block extremely well. He initiates contact, which is what you want to see from an offensive lineman, and also has above average footwork. Now, he can get a little bit grabby and can be off balance at times, which causes him to lunge. And more often his hands are outside, which leaves him susceptible to double moves. Those are some things he's going to have to clean up as he makes the jump to the NFL. He plays a lot like Cordy Glenn of the Buffalo Bills. I think there's a lot of TJ Clemmings and Kyle Murphy's game out of Stanford at 6'6", 305. He graded out as a second-round talent, in my opinion. He has a very strong point of attack play. He's excellent in run blocking. He's a good enough athlete to get out and about on pulls and things like that. He's also able to absorb very well in pass pro and then is able to steer, which is exactly what you want your offensive tackle to do. Now, his footwork and setup can be a little bit inconsistent, and normally when it is, he'll get beat inside or whiff on a run block. But overall, a lot to like about his game, which is why he graded out so high for me. I was able to see Ronnie Stanley live out of Notre Dame versus Temple this year, and I came away highly impressed with his above-average athleticism for the position. And when he locks on, it's very tough to disengage from him if you're a defender. But his hands tend to get outside, and he can be a bit heavy-footed when trying to recover and doesn't always bring his feet and hips in the run blocking department. That causes him to whiff at times, but overall, good athlete, good on the move, and plays a lot like Anthony Davis. Jack Conkling is a highly decorated prospect coming out of Michigan State that has really good strength. He's very good in the run blocking department, as you would expect an offensive lineman to be coming out of the Spartans program. He also executes fan blocks well and is able to lock and pin effectively. Now, he has good strength, but he isn't overly powerful because of his feet. I think if he gets his footwork right, he will become much more powerful. He's not quick or sudden and can struggle to redirect and recover, and also exposes his chest far too often, in my opinion. I think he's better suited as a right tackle, where you can ask him to fire off the football in the running game department and also get out and get creative on pulls and traps like that and seals and pins, like I mentioned before. His game, I think, is parallel to what you see from Eric Fisher. Joe Haeg out of North Dakota State plays a lot like Zach Strief of the New Orleans Saints. He has good functional strength. He has fluid movement skills to get out on pulls and folds and things like that. He does that very well. I think he could play left or right tackle, and even a goal line tight end. I think he's that type of athlete. Now, his pass protection setup needs a little bit of work, and he leaves himself off balance at times and easy access to his chest. So he has to keep those hands inside, compact, to fight off his chest and strike first. But I do think he has third-round talent, which is why I gave him a third-round grade. Willy Beavers out of Western Michigan at 6'5", 321 has excellent hand placement, good compact game in his quick set and run blocking, and 90% of the time, I think he's in control and gets movement off the ball. Now, he does struggle with depth in his kick slide versus speedy defensive ends, and he'll overextend there, and then he'll get beat inside, or he'll reach and grab, which would cause a holding penalty. But I do like how versatile he is. I think he can excel as either a left tackle or a right tackle, or even as a guard in the NFL. Dominic Robertson out of West Georgia is an outstanding Division II prospect coming from that Wolves program. You can tell he was well coached throughout the course of his career down there in West Georgia. He has good bursts off the ball. He gets a powerful shock initially and is able to wall off and pin defenders very well, and also has good athleticism. Now, the only thing he lacks, I believe, is polish and consistency. He doesn't always finish his blocks and can be a little lax when climbing to the second level, but I think his game reminds me a lot of Jordan Mills, who plays for the Chicago Bears. Shawn Colvin out of Auburn has good pop upon contact, very sound technique on both ends as a pass protector and also in the run blocking department, and has very good hands. Now, I don't think he has the strongest of games. I think he has okay power. He's a little too patient in pass protection and struggles to bend, which causes him to lose control and not generate that power. Those are some things technically he's going to have to work on as he moves forward, but I think he's also better suited as a right tackle. There's a lot to like about John Theus' game out of Georgia at 6'6", 313. I graded him out as a fourth-round prospect. His hands stay inside. He does a great job recovering and is able to effectively wash, seal, and pin very well. And I also believe he has good read and recognition skills when picking up stunts and blitzes, but he has to get stronger at the point of attack. I think defensive linemen tend to win initially with that punch, and his footwork gets sloppy at times, but overall, again, solid enough skills to where you can find him in the middle rounds. One of the more underrated offensive lineman prospects this year is coming out of the Ivy League in Tanner Sexton at 6'5", 300 pounds. Plays a lot like Brino Giacomini. I graded him out as a fourth-round talent. He has the upside that you look for. He moved from defensive lineman to the offensive line as a junior. He's a powerful punch type of a guy and is able to extend and gets a lot of movement in the running game. The only thing he's lacking right now is polish, and he can let his hands get outside at times and needs to be a little bit more quicker off the ball. But I think he's a right tackle in the NFL, and he sees what he hits, which is always a plus. And he, like I said before, he has the upside that you want from a guy coming from the FCS. Caleb Bennoch out of UCLA has great ball get off. He really fires into the defender with first hand, so he's always in a position of control and is solid in the run blocking department. Now, he must get stronger as he'll struggle to redirect and he'll get walked back to the quarterback. We saw this at times on film for the Bruins, but he does have that good versatility and is good on the move and is able to mirror and cut off the defender. He also has to be a little bit better in absorbing blows that's coming from the defensive side, but overall he has the upside of a guy that definitely can grow into a starter at the NFL level. Jason Spriggs out of Indiana had a very good week of practice at the Senior Bowl. He plays a lot like Justin Britt of the Seattle Seahawks. He's a very good athlete that climbs to the second level with ease. He can get out and about on running plays and also has very good point of attack strength, but he has poor hand placement. He struggles to recover if he's beat initially, and he gives up his chest far too often. I believe that's one area of his game where he's going to have to improve significantly. He also has issues when defending counter moves, but overall, if this guy locks onto the defender, it's over. I really like his game, and I graded him out as a fourth-round prospect. Another talented offensive line prospect coming out of the Ivy League in Cole Toner out of Harvard, who compares favorably to Ricky Wagner of the Baltimore Ravens. He's very strong in the running game. I think he can lock and control extremely well, and he moves defenders off the spot in the ground game. Now, he's questionable versus quicker defensive ends in pass protection. His feet tend to die on contact in pass pro, which leaves him susceptible to double moves and counter moves. So those are some things he's going to have to work on as he makes the jump. Vaughn Cooper out of Ole Miss at 6'4", 303 has a lot of field load hold of the Minnesota Vikings in this game. He's a guy that gets great movement in the running game, good power for the position, with strong hands that can steer and direct defenders. Now, he's inconsistent from a technical standpoint, which leads defenders to being in a position of control. That's something he's going to have to become a little bit more consistent of doing when he moves forward to the next level, because you can't allow yourself to be controlled by the defender, but enough raw skills to where you can see him probably being a day one starter at right tackle. Quietus Cup has been a really good year at the FCS level at the offensive tackle position. Clay DeBoard out of Eastern Washington is a guy that I really like. He's a guy that gets out on the move very well, shows the ability to anchor. For a guy that's that tall, that's impressive. And when his hands are inside, he's excellent. He has good footwork to recover and is a very strong point of attack player. Now, his late hands allows defenders to get into his chest, and because of that, his hand placement is inconsistent. He has to become a little bit more quicker and more consistent at keeping his chest protected if he wants to sustain success as a pro. Pierce Slater out of San Diego State at 6'7", 329 is a massive offensive tackle with solid pass protection skills and has a smooth kick slide and setup. He's also able to punch and extend very well, so he definitely uses that 6'7" frame to his advantage. Now, he must get more consistent in rolling his hips through contact. Also, resetting and redirecting has to improve, more in particular the resetting of the hands. I think his hands tend to be all over the place. If he can reset those hands with some consistency, he can move mountains. Arturo Udzavinas out of Tulane, I think, has tremendous upside. He's still learning the position and learning how to play football at a high level. At 6'7", 304, he has very good point of attack strength. He shows the ability to wash, seal, and pin. He climbs to the second level very well. I also believe he's solid in pass protection. Now, counter moves tend to give him fits if he doesn't win first with his hands, and his feet have to get a lot quicker. He can lose guys on stunts and twists. I think that is tied to the fact that he is a little bit slower with the footwork as far as trying to find guys, but if he can become a little bit more quicker in that capacity, the sky's the limit. He only started playing football his senior year in high school, so again, he has the upside that you want. Brandon Shell checks in at number 21 on our list at 6'5", 324. He's above average athletically. He can lock and extend very well. He gets good movement on pulls and also climbing to the second level, but he's very inconsistent with his technique, which causes him to whiff on blocks, and he has to get much more consistent in sustaining them overall if he wants to stick. But I did grade him out as a 6th-round prospect, and his game compares favorably to Marshall Newhouse. I came away highly impressed with Rochelle Medora's game out of Monmouth at 6'6", 325. He has above average athleticism. I got the chance to see him live versus Coastal Carolina. I'm a big fan of his footwork and movement skills. He is fluid on pulls, traps, and fold blocks. He competes well. I also like the fact that he can wall off and wash defenders and mirror well in the pass pro department. Now, his hands tend to be all over the place. He's very inconsistent in that area, and I think he has to get a little bit stronger in his core. But overall, very good talent. Again, coming out of the FCS ranks and plays a lot like Brett Boyko that came out of UNLV last season. Gerald Hawkins out of LSU is an early entry in this year's draft class, graded out as a 6th-round prospect, our 23rd rated offensive tackle prospect in this year's draft class. He's a very good athlete that does well on the move. He's able to climb to the next level, and his hand placement, I think, is A+. Now, he's not strong nor powerful at the point of attack. Defenders easily are able to get into his chest and control him, and he's rarely in a position of control. But again, he's a junior, so he does have the upside that position coaches at the next level can definitely work with. Alex Lewis out of Nebraska is very solid on base blocks in the running game. He's also aggressive in pass protection. I really like how aggressive he is in pass pro, because sometimes you have to meet the rubber at the road. You have to beat the guy to the punch, and he does a great job in that capacity. He's also able to lock and turn defenders. Now, he struggles to move guys off the spot. His footwork isn't always consistent, which is why he struggles to move guys, and he needs to refine his overall pass pro skills. But overall, solid prospect, graded out as a 7th-round player, and plays a lot like Ja Reed. And rounding out our list of top offensive tackle prospects in this year's draft class is Avery Young out of Auburn, another player that has upside because he's an early entry in this year's draft class. He shows good polish in pass pro, very good hand usage. I think he's outstanding in that area, and he's a very good athlete, but he's more strong than powerful and doesn't win a lot in base block situations and sustaining blocks, I think, is also a question. He has some minor things he has to work out within his game, like I mentioned before, but if he can get those things together, again, he has the upside, so he definitely has the room to grow.